First this, God created the heavens and earth. All you see, all you don't see. Earth was a soup of nothingness, a bottomless emptiness, an inky blackness. God's spirit brooded like a bird above the watery abyss. God spoke light, and light appeared. God saw that light was good, and separated light from dark. God named the light day, He named the dark night. It was evening, it was morning, day one. God spoke sky in the middle of the waters, separate water from water. God made sky. He separated the water under sky from the water above sky, and there it was. He named sky the heavens. It was evening, it was morning, day two. God spoke separate, water beneath heaven, gather into one place. Land appeared, and there it was. God named the land earth, He named the pooled water ocean. God saw that it was good. God spoke earth green up, grow all varieties of seed-bearing plants, every sort of fruit-bearing tree. And there it was, earth produced green seed-bearing plants, all varieties, and fruit-bearing trees of all sorts. God saw that it was good. It was evening, it was morning, day three. God spoke, lights come out, shine in heaven's sky, separate day from night, mark seasons and days and years. Lights in heaven's sky to give light to earth, and there it was. God made two big lights, the larger to take charge of day, the smaller to be in charge of night. And He made the stars. God placed them in the heavenly sky to light up earth and oversee day and night, to separate light and dark. God saw that it was good. It was evening, it was morning, day four. God spoke swarm motion with fish and all sea life. Birds fly through the sky over earth. God created the huge whales, all the swarm of life in the waters, and every kind and species of flying birds. God saw that it was good. God blessed them. Prosper, reproduce, fill ocean, birds reproduce on earth. It was evening, it was morning, day five. God spoke earth, generate life, every sort and kind, cattle and reptiles, and wild animals, all kinds. And there it was, wild animals of every kind, cattle of all kinds, every sort of reptile and bug. God saw that it was good. God spoke, let us make human beings in our image, make them reflect in our nature, so they can be responsible for the fish in the sea, the birds in the air, the cattle, and yes, earth itself, and every animal that moves on the face of earth. God created human beings, He created them godlike, reflecting reflecting God's nature. He created them male and female. God bless them, prosper, reproduce, fill earth, take charge, be responsible for fish in the sea and birds in the air, for every living thing that moves on the face of earth. Then God said, I've given you every sort of seed-bearing plant on earth and every kind of fruit-bearing tree, given them to you for food, to all animals and all birds, everything that moves and breathes. I give whatever grows out of the ground for food. And there it was. God looked over everything He had made. It was so good, so very good. It was evening, it was morning, day 6. Heaven and earth were finished, down to the last detail. By the 7th day, God had finished His work. On the 7th day, He rested from all His work. God blessed the 7th day, He made it a holy day, because on that day He rested from His work, all the creating God had done. This is the story of how it all started, of heaven and earth when they were created. At the time God made earth and heaven, before any grasses or shrubs had sprouted. God hadn't yet sent rain on earth, and no one was there to work the ground. The whole earth was watered by underground springs. God formed man out of dirt from the ground and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. The man came alive, a living soul. Then God planted a garden in the east. He put the man He had just made in it. God made all kinds of trees grow from the ground, trees beautiful to look at and good to eat. The tree of life was in the middle of the garden, also the tree of knowledge of good and evil. A river flows out of Eden to water the garden, and from there divides into 4 rivers. The first is named Pishon. It flows through Avila where there is gold. The gold of this land is good. The land is also known for a sweet scented resin and the onyx stone. second river is named Gihon. It flows through the land of Cush. The third river is Hiddekel. It flows east of Assyria. The fourth river is the Euphrates. God took the man and set him down in the Garden of Eden to work the ground and keep it in order. God commanded the man, you can eat from any tree in the garden except from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Don't eat from it. The moment you eat from that tree, you're dead. God said, it's not good for the man to be alone. I'll make him a helper, a companion. So God formed from the dirt all the animals of the field and all the birds of the air. He brought them to the man to see what he would name them. Whatever the man called each living creature, that was its name. The man named the cattle, named the birds of the air, named the wild animals, but he didn't find a suitable companion. Put the man into a deep sleep. As he slept, he removed one of his ribs and replaced it with flesh. God then used the rib that he had taken from the man to make woman and presented her to the man. The man said, finally, bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, name her woman, for she was made from man. Therefore a man leaves his father and mother and embraces his wife. They become one flesh. Two of them, the man and his wife, were naked, but they felt no shame.
The serpent was clever, more clever than any wild animal God had made. He spoke to the woman, did God really say you can't eat from any tree in the garden? The woman answered, we can eat from the trees, it's just the one in the middle. God said, don't eat it, don't even touch it, or you'll die. The serpent said, you won't die. God knows the moment you eat, your eyes will open, you'll be like him, knowing everything good and evil. The woman looked again, the fruit seemed good, she desired the knowledge. She took it and ate. Then she gave some to her husband and he ate too. And suddenly they saw they were naked. They sewed fig leaves together, tried to cover themselves. heard God walking in the garden in the cool of the evening breeze, and they hid among the trees. They hid from the Lord. God called out, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you and I was afraid, because I was naked, so I hid." God asked, "Who told you that you were naked? Did you eat from the tree I commanded you not to?" The man said, "The woman you gave me, she gave me fruit, and I ate it." God asked the woman, "What have you done?" She said, "The serpent seduced me, and I ate." God told the serpent, "You're cursed, cursed above all creatures. You'll slither on your belly and eat dust your whole life. There will be war between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, you will bruise his heel." To the woman he said, "Childbirth will be pain. You'll want your husband, but he'll rule over you." To the man he said, "Because you listened, the ground is cursed. You'll eat by sweat and toil, thorns, weeds, labor from dawn to dusk, and then you return to the dirt, dust you came from, dust you'll become." Named his wife Eve, mother of all living. God made garments of leather for them and clothed them. And the Lord said, "Now the man knows good and evil. What if he eats from the tree of life?" He must not. So God sent them out of the garden, to work the same earth they came from. He placed angel cherubim and a flaming sword that turned every way, guarding the way to the tree of life. Adam slept with Eve, his wife. She conceived and had Cain. She said, "I've gotten a man with God's help." Then she had another, Abel. Abel was a herdsman, Cain a farmer. Time passed. Cain brought an offering from the crops of his land. Abel brought one too, the firstborn from his flock, choice cuts of meat. God liked Abel's gift, but not Cain's.
And Cain burned with anger, he soaked, he turned cold. Then God spoke to Cain, why this tantrum, why the soaking? If you do well, won't you be accepted? But if not, sin is waiting, crouched at your door, it wants you. You must master it. Cain spoke with Abel, they were out in the field, and then Cain struck his brother down. He killed him. God said, where is Abel, your brother? Cain replied, I don't know. Am I his babysitter? God said, what have you done? Your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. From now on, the ground will curse you. You'll plant, but it won't yield. You'll be a wanderer, homeless on earth. Cain said, my punishment is too much, I can't take it. I'm cut off, and I'll be killed. But God said no, whoever kills Cain will suffer 7 times over. And he marked Cain so no one would take his life. Cain left the presence of God, he settled in the east, in no man's land. Cain slept with his wife, they had Enoch. He built a city, named it after his son. Enoch had Irad, Irad had Mehuel, Mehuel had Methushel, Methushel had Lamech. Lamech took 2 wives, Ada and Zillah, Ada and Jabal, father of those who live in tents, herd cattle. His brother Jubal became the father of music, lyre and flute. Zillah gave birth to Tubal-Cain, a metal worker, tools of bronze and iron. His sister's name was Naamah. Lamech said to his wives, Ada and Zillah, listen to me. I killed a man who wounded me, a young man who struck me. If Cain's avenged 7 times, Lamech 77. Adam slept with Eve again. She bore a son and named him Seth. She said, God has given me another child to take Abel's place. Seth had a son, Enosh, and in those days people began to call on the name of the Lord.
This is the family tree of the human race. When God created mankind, He made them godlike, with a nature akin to His own. Male and female He created them and blessed them, the whole human race. Adam was 130 years old when he had a son. Just like him, his very spirit and image, he named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 more years and had other sons and daughters. He lived 930 years and he died. Seth was 105 when he had Enosh. He lived another 87 years and had more sons and daughters. He lived 912 years and he died. Enosh was 90 when he had Canaan. He lived 815 more years and had sons and daughters. He lived 905 years and he died. Canaan had Mahalalel at 70. He lived 812 more years with sons and daughters. 912 years and he died. Mahalalel was 65 when Jared was born. He lived 813 more years, a total of 895, and he died. Jared was Abram 16 when he had Enoch, then lived 800 more years, with sons and daughters, 96 2 years in all, and he died. But Enoch walked steadily with God. At 65 he had Methuselah, and for 300 more years he walked with the Lord. He lived 355 years, and one day he was gone. God took him, he was no more. Methuselah was 187 when Lamech was born. He lived 782 more years, a total of 969, and he died. Lamech was in an 82 and he had a son. He named him Noah. He said, "This one will give us rest from the hard work of the cursed ground." Lamech lived 55 more years, 77 in total, and he died. Then Noah, at 500 years old, had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. When the human race began to grow, more daughters were born. The sons of God noticed they were beautiful. They chose wives for themselves. Then God said, "My spirit will not strive with man forever. They are only flesh from now on, 120 years. In those days, there were giants in the land, and later 2 mighty ones of old, born of sons of God and daughters of men, heroes of ancient days, names remembered. God looked and saw evil, every thought of the human heart, evil all day long.
said, I regret what I've made, all of it, I'll sweep it clean. People, animals, birds, creeping things, I'm sorry I made them. But Noah was different. God saw him and he was pleased. This is Noah's story, a good man, blameless in his time. He walked with God, he had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But the earth was ruined, a sewer of violence, corruption everywhere. God saw it all, every heart, every hand, rotten to the core. And God said to Noah, it's all over, the end of man has come. I will make a clean sweep. Build a ship from teak wood, make rooms inside, cover it with pitch inside and out. Fort 50 feet long, 75 wide, 45 high. Put a roof, a window near the top, place the door on the side. 3 decks, lower, middle, upper. I will send a flood over all the earth. Everything alive will be destroyed. But with you, Noah, I'll make a covenant. You and your family will board the ship, your sons, your wife, their wives too. Take with you 2 of every living thing, male and female, birds, mammals, reptiles, 2 of each. Bring food for you and for them, all you'll need to survive the storm. And Noah did everything God commanded him to do. And God said to Noah, now board the ship, you and your family, for you are the only righteous one in this generation. Take 7 pairs of every clean animal, a male and a female. 1 pair of every unclean animal, a male and a female. And 7 pairs of every kind of bird, preserve life on earth. In 7 days I will pour down rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Everything I made, I'll
sweep it clean. Noah did everything God commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came. He and his wife, his sons and their wives boarded the ship. Clean and unclean animals, birds and crawling things, they came two by two, just as God said. And in 7 days, the flood came. In the second month, on the 17th day, the underground springs erupted. The windows of heaven were thrown open and rain poured 40 days and 40 nights. On that day, Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, Japheth, entered the ship with their wives and every living kind, wild and tame, crawling and flying. They came to Noah, they entered in pairs, everything with the breath of life walked in, and God shut the door behind them. The flood continued 40 days, the waters rose and lifted the ship, it floated above the earth. The waters kept rising, they covered the mountains 20 feet over the highest peak. Every living thing, perished birds, farm animals, wild beasts, crawling creatures, people, everything that had the breath of life on dry land was gone. He wiped it all clean. Only Noah and those with him on the ship were left. The waters ruled for 150 days. The waters ruled for 150 days. Then God turned his attention to Noah and to every creature on the ship. He caused a wind to blow across the earth. The waters began to go down. The springs of the deep were closed. The windows of heaven were shut. And the rain stopped falling. Inch by inch the water lowered 150 days, and the worst was over. On the 17th day of the 7th month, the ship came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. The waters kept dropping until the 10th month. On the first day, mountain peaks appeared. After 40 more days, Noah opened the window he had built.
He sent out a raven, it flew back and forth across the sky, waiting for the earth to dry. Then he sent a dove, but the waters still covered the ground. She found no place to land. He brought her back into the ship. 7 days passed, and he sent her again. This time she returned with an olive leaf in her beak. Noah knew the flood was almost gone. 7 more days he sent her again, but this time she never came back. In the 601st year of Noah's life, on the first day of the first month, he opened the hatch and saw dry ground. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was completely dry. God spoke to Noah, leave the ship, you and your wife, your sons and their wives. Bring out the animals, every bird, every creature that crawls, everything that breathes, so they may fill the earth again and flourish. So Noah came out, his sons, his wife, their wives too, and every creature crawling, flying, walking, left the ship, family by family. Then Noah built an altar. He chose clean animals and birds and offered them as a burnt offering to the Lord. And God smelled the sweet fragrance. He said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground because of man. Even though their hearts bend toward evil, I will not destroy all life again. For as long as the earth remains, planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night, will never cease. God bless Noah and his sons, he said. Prosper, reproduce, fill the earth. Every living creature will fear you now. You are stewards of their lives. I give you everything for food. Birds, beasts, fish. Just as I gave the plants, but don't eat meat with lifeblood in it. If anyone sheds human blood, they will answer for it, for humans were made in the image of God, reflecting his very nature. So bear fruit, reproduce, lavish life on this earth, live bountifully. Then God said, I make this covenant with you, your children, and all
living creatures. Never again will flood waters destroy all life. Never again will a flood wipe out the earth. This is the sign. I set my rainbow in the clouds. A covenant between me and the earth. When clouds cover the sky and the rainbow appears, I'll remember my promise to all living things. The covenant will not be broken. This is the sign between me and all that lives. Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, walked out into the new world. From them, the earth was repopulated. Noah, farmer, planted a vineyard. He drank its wine and fell asleep. Naked in his tent, Ham saw his father and spoke of it. But Shem and Japheth, they walked in backwards with a cloak and covered him. They would not look upon their father's shame. When Noah awoke, he knew what had been done, and he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants. Blessed be the God of Shem, may Japheth dwell in his tents. But Canaan will serve them." Noah lived 350 years after the flood, 950 years in all, and he died.
This is the family tree of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. After the flood, they too had sons. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, Tiras. The sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Ripath, Togarma. The sons of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, Radanim. From these came the seafaring peoples, each with their own land, their own language, their own family, their own nation. The sons of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, Canaan, Seba, Havila, Sapta, Rama, Saptaka, Sheba, Dedan. Cush had Nimrod, the first great warrior on earth, a mighty hunter before the Lord. His kingdom began in Babel, Eretz, Akkad, Kalne, in Shinar. He built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Kala, Raisin, between Kala and Nineveh, a great city. Egypt was ancestor to Luludim, Anamim, Lehabim, Naphtuhim, Pathrusim, Kasluhim, and Kaftorim. Canaan had Sidon his firstborn, Heth, Jebusite, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Arakites, Sinites, Arvadites, Amorites, Hamathites. The Canaanites spread out from Sidon to Gaza, towards Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and on to Lasha. These were the descendants of Ham, by family, by language, by country, by nation. Shem also had sons, ancestor of Eber's children. Elam, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, Meshech, Aravathad, Shelah had Eber. Eber had two sons, Peleg, so named because in his days the earth was divided, and Joktan had Almodad, Shilef, Hazaramaveth, Jerah, Haduram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, Jobab. Their land stretched from Asia to Sephar, to the eastern mountain ranges. These were the sons of Shem, by family, by language, by country, by nation. This is the family tree of Noah's sons, and from them the nation spread across the earth after the flood. At one time, the whole earth spoke a single language. They moved out of the east, found a plain in Shinar, and settled down. Let's make bricks, they said, and fire them strong. They used a brick for stone, tar for mortar. Let's build a city, they whispered in rhythm, a tower to heaven, to make our name great so we won't be scattered. But God came down, looked upon the tower, one people, one tongue. This is just the beginning. Let's go down, confuse their speech, and just like that they couldn't understand each other anymore. So God scattered them over all the earth. They stopped building, and the city was called Babel, because their language was turned to Babel. Shem had Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. He lived 500 more years. Sons and daughters came. Arphaxad had Shelah, and Shelah had Eber,
Eber had Peleg, in whose days the world divided. Peleg had Reu had Serug, Serug had Nahor, Nahor had Terah. When Terah was 70, he had 3 sons, Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran fathered Lot, but he died early in Ur of the Chaldees, his ancestral land. Abram married Sarai, Nahor married Milcah, the daughter of Haran. Sarai had no children. Terah gathered his family, Abram, Sarai, and Lot. They left for Canaan, but stopped in Haran and settled there. Terah lived 205 years, and he died in Haran.
God told Abram, leave your land, your family, your father's home, for a place I will show you. I'll make you a great nation, and I will bless you. I'll make your name known, and through you the world will be blessed. I'll bless those who bless you, those who curse you. I'll curse every family on earth will be touched through you. So Abram left, just as God had said. Lot went with him, he was 75 when he left Haran. He brought Sarai, his wife, and Lot, his nephew, all their people and all their goods, and they journeyed to Canaan. They reached Shechem by the oak of Moreh. The Canaanites lived there, but God appeared and said, I will give this land to your children. So Abram built an altar where God had appeared. Then he moved on, pitched his tent between Bethel and Ai. There he built another altar and prayed to the Lord. Abram kept moving, traveling down to the Negev. Struck the land, harsh and severe. So Abram went down to Egypt to wait it out. He said to Sarai, you're beautiful, and they'll want you for Pharaoh. If they know you're my wife, they'll kill me. Say you're my sister, so they'll treat me well and let me live. When they arrived, the Egyptians saw her beauty. Pharaoh's men praised her. She was taken to the palace. Abram gained wealth, flocks, herds, servants, donkeys, and camels. But God struck Pharaoh's house with plagues because of Sarai. Pharaoh called Abram, "What have you done? Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? You said she was your sister, so I took her as mine. Now take her and go." And Pharaoh sent them away, Abram, Sarai, and everything they owned, back on the road to the promise.
So Abram left Egypt, returned to the Negev, his wife beside him, and all he owned. Lot still walked with him, they journeyed on. From the Negev they camped along the way, back to Bethel, to that old place between Bethel and Ai, where Abram built his first altar, and there he prayed again to God. Lot had grown rich too, sheep, cattle, tents, but the land could no longer hold them both. Too many herds, too many hands, quarrels started between the shepherds, the Canaanites, and Perizzites still lived in the land. Abram said to Lot, "Let's not fight, not you and me, nor our shepherds. We are family. There's land enough. If you go left, I'll go right. If you go right, I'll go left." Lot looked out, saw the plain of the Jordan, lush and green like Egypt, like God's own garden. He chose the east and went his way. They parted company, Lot camped near Sodom, while Abram stayed in the land of Canaan. But the people of Sodom were wicked, flagrant sinners against God. After Lot had gone, God spoke to Abram, "Look north, look south, look east and west. Every inch you see, I will give it to you and to your children. I'll make your descendants like dust on the ground, too many to count, too vast to hold.
Now rise, walk the land, length and breadth, it is yours. So Abram moved again to the oaks of Mamre near Hebron. There he built an altar to the Lord.
Kings rose in the land, Shana, Ella, Elam, and Goyim. They rode into battle, marching on the plains of Sidon. Against 5 kings they stood, Sodom, Gomorrah, Mazabor, and Bethel. For 12 long years they bowed to Elam's throne, but the 13th they rose. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer came. He crushed the Rephaim and the Horites flame. From the desert edge to Hazazon's trees, they conquered all, swift as the breeze. 5 against 4 in the valley of Tar. Sidim's ground slick, the armies at war. Kings fell into pits, others fled to the hills. The victors took spoils, their hunger to fill. They carried off Lot, Abram's own kin, took all he owned and vanished in sin. A messenger ran, came straight to the trees where Abram lived with his allies apiece. 318 strong, born under his roof, he chased the kings with faith as his proof. He struck in the night, split forces wide, and rescued Lot with family beside. Back from the battle in the valley of kings, Melchizedek came with bread and wine to bring. He blessed Abram there, priest of the high. Blessed be the one whose help comes from on high. And Abram gave 1/10 of all that he claimed, honoring God who had blessed his name. The king of Sodom said, keep all the gain, just give me the people, that's all I claim. But Abram stood firm, swore by the skies, not even a threat will come from your side. So no one may say I made Abram rich, only what they ate and my allies gift. So the battle was won and the promise stood tall. Abram walked back to the trees, having given God all.